So I started the course back in September. I think it might have been like the second week it was released. Launched my first ad as soon as that module came out. I think it was in October. 2 hours after I launched my first ad, I had my first sale. And I was just like, whoa, I was like, this is crazy. I was super stoked. I even messaged you and Keegan on Instagram, like seeing the screenshot. But yeah, eventually, just kept on testing. And winter hit, the first day of the breakthrough, I hit a 2K day. It's just pretty crazy.
So going from no online experience at all to now, like, what's your highest day been so far?
So it was actually on Friday, this past Friday, I was $100 short of 5K day.
Wow, bro, that's insane. From zero to
Yeah.
$5,000 in a day.
Right. Yeah. It's insane. It's just like, I don't know, just days full of like gratitude, just it was all because of this course, all because of Profit Singularity.
It's good to finally meet you, bro.
Yeah. It's likewise, man. It's a pleasure to finally get to talk to you, Chris.
I've heard a lot about your success and what you've achieved. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to jumping on and having a conversation with you.
Yeah. Same here, Chris. You're actually a huge part of that, journey to success. So it's such a pleasure and super grateful to finally be, talking to you.
Yeah, for sure. And it's crazy, like, to hear what you've gone on to achieve, but also like that will complete strangers, like 6 months ago. Now we're finally on here talking. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to hearing your story and everything you've gone through leading up to your breakthrough.
Yeah. Awesome. Same here.
So cool. Do you want to just share a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what you used to do before, diving into the online space and all that good stuff?
Okay. Yeah. So I'm from California, in the United States. Currently living in San Diego. Before I started doing affiliate marketing, I was a cybersecurity engineer, just working as a government contractor.
Yeah, nice. And how did you transition from that to like the online space? Like, what was your motivations behind trying to pursue something online? Like, and how was that transition?
Yeah. Well, at the time, I had just became a cybersecurity engineer and, I was making good money, but I never saw myself, like, even since I was a kid, like working an office job, just going to a cubicle every day and just working like a 9 to 5. Um, but, at the time, like, I was like, I would consider myself successful just because I had, the wife and kids, the house, a good career. But like deep inside, I was like, is this it? Like, is this like, what am I supposed to do for like the rest of my life, like next 30 years, And I just felt like there's something missing. And like, again, I was like, man, I just never saw myself as being the person to wake up an alarm every day, going traffic and just being in a cubicle 8 hours. So, and then I watched, like, the first time I heard about affiliate marketing was watching Elo's success story. And then like the reasons why he got into affiliate marketing, I was like, what? I was like, that's exactly what I'm looking for. And that's when like the book Think and Grow Rich came into to my life. Started listening to that like on the way to work as an audiobook, and it kind of opened up my mind. And that's when I was starting to like, maybe there is a possibility where I can get out of the 9 to 5 grind. And that eventually led me to one of Mike Bistell's videos. I know, similar to like what you and Keegan first saw Gary. And then, yeah, that's when I started, watching some of Gary's videos. And like, like the first video I watched, I was like, oh man, like if something told me like this is the person that's going to help me join the course, and the rest is
Yeah.
history.
Yeah, definitely. And what was the so what was the main motivation? Like, what was your why? A lot of people fantasize about leaving their 9 to 5 and quitting their job, but not many people actually have that like spark of motivation or inspiration to really take that big step and that like sort of risk forward to actually pursue something else.
Right. So like at first it didn't start off like that. At first I kind of like, was reading the book Think and Go Rich, and then started testing on like smaller goals. Like, for example, I was like, oh, I had a goal in like 2 years. I want to be making X amount of money in my job. And it was like a reasonable goal. And I was like, you know what, let me try do the stuff that says in and Grow Rich, and see how fast I can get this. And like within 2 months, it happened. I was like, I got it. The raise for it put me at that position. I was like, holy, like this stuff actually works. And that's when I was thinking, all right, well, what is it do I really want? What is my desire? And it's just like freedom. Like freedom was really what I was after. It wasn't really not working a 9 to 5 job. It was just really having the freedom to just go wherever you want, be whoever you want. I was like, I just couldn't like, I don't picture like us humans as like being put on this earth to like just work a 9 to 5 job. Like there has to be more. And I think that was freedom is what it is, and that's what my why was, is just really to have that freedom. And then, show it, pass that down to my kids too, like, cause I did like the traditional route. I went to college, got my degree, joined the military, like I said, got a 9 to 5, a good career, and deep down inside, I wasn't happy. So I was like, if I'm telling my kids to do this when they grow up, they might be in the same situation I'm in. So I was like, I got to find out what really is out there. And
Yeah,
honestly, I think it's freedom.
exactly. Yeah, I think that's the biggest desire for most people. And you can go ahead and write down like your goal life, like your dream day. You know how some people say write down your dream day and figure out what you actually want. But I think the foundational aspect of everything like that comes down to having the freedom to actually do that. And most people consider that too far away of a concept because they are stuck into a 9 to 5, waking up with their alarm, doing stuff, that they don't typically want to do. And there's nothing wrong with doing a 9 to 5 and stuff. But, as you said, you had that sort of vision that there is something better than that. There is something else that you want to pursue, like, because the 9 to 5 wasn't for you. So, how was your did you have any online experience before joining the course? Like you mentioned that you were in the military, you got a degree, you had a job. Did you do anything online before joining our course, Profit Singularity, or you?
So nothing serious. I dabbled in like making website. It was like during when COVID hit, and then I picked up the 4 Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. So just like trying to test something out, but it was only like a couple of months. Like I didn't make any money or anything to that. But other than that, that was like my only like online business experience. Before that, I had like zero. I never made a dollar or anything like that online.
Yeah. And so what's been your highest day been so far? Speaking of that, so going from no online experience at all to now, like, what's your highest day been so far?
So it was actually on Friday, this past Friday, I was $100 short of 5K day.
Wow, bro, that's insane.
Yeah.
From zero to
Yeah.
$5,000
From
in a
zero.
day. And what's been like your highest profit take home for a month, like a single month so far?
So I just hit my breakthrough. So I hit it like a month ago, and then I got like flag for kickback, so dealt with that, and then I just got it back like a week ago. So I would say like I've only have like 2 weeks of like having a breakthrough at 2 or 3 weeks. So it's probably like total. I probably made like I'd say close to 20,000,
Nice,
20K.
man. That's the power of it. Like going from like, nothing to hitting your breakthrough to then 20,000 profit in like, what, 3, 4 weeks. So how did that feel? Going from no online experience to then finding your winner and hitting like 20 grand in like a couple of weeks.
Oh man, so like I said, I was like super into mindset. So like even before it happened, like in my mind, I was convinced like every day I was giving gratitude as if I already had it. So I was like, when it actually happened, it was just like it's weird because it's like I mean, I was excited, I was super grateful and all that, but I was like, I've been like last few weeks, months, whatever, I've been this grateful, and it's just like, but it's just like to have it like showing like my wife, like, look, it's actually reality, like it actually happened. I think that was like the greatest feeling right there, just like to show other people, like it's like I didn't tell anybody about this, like I didn't share this with my parents or friends. I was like, not until I have like the physical evidence, I could start sharing this, and then yeah, when I hit my breakthrough, that's when my closest friends is like, look, I found this thing, and my wife. So just like showing other people, kind of opening up their minds and stuff. I think that was
Yeah.
like a
What
pretty
was
crazy
your wife's
experience.
reaction?
So she's like, I don't know. Sometimes she has like more belief than I do. So she was like when I told her I'm gonna do something, she like kind of trusts me and believes me, has faith in me. So like when it happened, she was like, she was like kind of like, oh well, finally, like she was grateful, but she's like about time, I thought it was gonna happen sooner, but yeah, she's stoked now.
Yeah, that's amazing. So from when you joined, do you want to run us through like your timeline of, when you first joined, how did you find the beginning of the course? And then, from finding your winning video to scaling up to, your highest day so far, which is just under $5,000. Like how long was that process? Like walk us through
Okay.
that.
So I started the course back in September. I think it might have been like the second week it was released. Yeah, so it was like I said, I was super excited, super stoked, so just knocking the modules every day. And as soon as they're out, I was trying to knock them out. And then, launched my first ad as soon as that module came out. I think it was in October. And I launched it, but I still didn't really know what I was doing. I was just too excited. I didn't really know like my, what my stats should be at, my metrics and all that. So I was just like, I just want to launch. So I launched the course, and I remember like I even emailed support because I was like, it's been like an hour and no impressions, or none of my spend has happened. Like, what's going on? And the support's like, just relax. It takes a couple hours. And yeah, soon enough, like 2 hours after I launched my first ad, I had my first sale. And I was just like, whoa, I was like, this is crazy. I was super stoked. I even messaged you and Keegan on Instagram, like seeing a screenshot, but it was just like kind of like a fluke, It was one of those, like, I think I had like 8 visitors to my page, and just like one of them, made a sale. And I was like, oh man, this is gonna be super easy. This is crazy. But yeah, like, 3 days later and no more sales. And then that actual sale I get gets refunded. And I'm like, oh man, what's going on? And then like a week later, like, yeah, I get hit with a suspension, and I'm like, oh, like it went like from all the way up here to down here, like super quick. Again, and that was like, I guess my first test, first challenge, uh, and yeah, so I went and appealed my account. And eventually I reached out to Francisco, and he kind of gave me, what he did to get his account back. And I just followed exactly what he said. And, a week later I was back up and running perfectly fine. And then, I started testing my ads again, but still, it took me some time because, at first, like, no experience at all. So I'm like, my CPCs were like way off, over $2. And then, I was trying to do my own things. I didn't follow the course as is, which I think is a huge mistake that a lot of students make. And yeah, so eventually, I started getting good, started getting sales. And it was kind of like a stages. You first, you're not really getting any sales, you're still learning everything. And then you start, making some sales, and then you start constantly breaking even. So I was like breaking even for like maybe like a month. It was just like just making sales, breaking even. Then I started, constantly making ROI. Like on day one, I would have ads. I would make like, 100, 200% on day one, day two, and kind of fall off. I was there for like a kind of like a month. And then, yeah, eventually, just kept on testing and testing. And winter hit, I reached out to Francisco actually. And like the last like tip of advice he gave me was like what I did in order to hit that breakthrough. He's pretty much like told me to change my script. I was kind of stuck on the same script. And, after that is like when I hit it. And yeah, I remember like the first day was like, because, my goal was to hit a 1K day, but the first day of the breakthrough, I hit a 2K day, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah. And so how did that feel from doing like the break even stuff? Like, so it works, like you make your first sale. What was the change in your like perception that led to that breakthrough?
Well, I think there was two things. One of them was like the mindset, like at that point when I was like, a week or two away from my breakthrough, I already had the mindset for like, even if I got my account suspended, and even if, my ad wasn't working, I knew that I could figure it out, and I can overcome whatever challenges, were thrown my way. So I just had that mindset, like it was going to happen and nothing was going to stop me. So I think that was one of the big things. And yeah, the second thing was, on the technical side, Francisco was like, I was explaining this in Francisco, I was like, yeah, man, I've been, having ROI on day one and kind of breaking off the couple days. And just telling them like, well, he's like, well, how have you been changing? I was pretty much just changing the hook and offers, like everything except like the first 30 seconds. He's like, well, after that much testing, you might try changing the first 30 seconds. And sure enough, I changed the first 30 seconds, and then the next day is when the breakthrough hit. So yeah,
Yeah,
just I guess comes down to testing.
exactly. Yeah. And so was it that one video that you made that change on? Like you had the same video, you're sort of doing tweaks, where you were changing stuff, but you weren't changing like the most important bit. And then when you made that change, that's what it was. And then boom, you started hitting like what did you hit your first $2,000 day?
Yeah, I think the first day was like I only had spent like $100 budget, so it was like $200 or $300. And the next day when I scaled it like a couple hundred over. It was like 2,200 or something like that.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. And so you
Yeah,
mentioned that when you first joined the course, you were doing your own sort of thing, not really following the method. So do you want to run us through that?
yeah.
Because I believe that's something that a lot of people do, because they come in and they're like, it can't be this easy, or it can't be this simple or something. I need to do my own
Mm,
sort of spin. Do you want to run us through like your understanding of why you wanted to do it differently, and then, coming back to like the step-by-step process?
yeah. So like when you first start the course, sometimes you see this and you're like, some like, the stuff you use for ad scripts and stuff, you're like, it can't be this simple, like there's got to be like a little trick, or there's got to be something like, there's got to be something more. And it's kind of like you start looking for that instead of just like following the proven techniques. You kind of just try to venture on for your own. And then in the beginning too, you see these ads and you're like, there's no way this could be making this much money, and so you're just like, I don't know, it's just kind of just, I guess, repetition too, just like seeing the whole same thing over and over too. Because like you guys, like I rewatched some of the like modules, And it's like the first time I watched it, I was like, oh man, like I should have really paid attention because you guys like you and Keegan like tell us like, oh, like it's you teach us what's gonna happen. You tell us, and it's just like sometimes like you don't pay attention or you just miss it. And it's like, oh man, it was right there. I should have just like, he told me like if this is happening, I should test the hook, or if this is happening, I should do this. I was like, and I just kind of instead of doing that, I did everything else but that. And then, when I started actually following exactly what it was and using, exactly the techniques, that's when my stats started improving. My CPC, I was able to get it, down to what was acceptable. I was like, all right, let me stop with my own program and, just focus on exactly what they're teaching. And I noticed, talking to other students, in other groups and stuff, that's like one common mistake, like a lot of us make, is especially in the beginning, is like trying to figure out our own thing or, test different. I know I tested different niches that not really in the health niche, or like it's completely different, like relationship or manifestation, like something that you guys don't even talk about at all, and it's just gonna be a waste of time and money. Now,
Yeah.
like if anybody, yeah, if anybody asks me if they're doing, like if students ask me for advice and like they're doing something that's not taught in the course, I'm just like, you're just wasting your time.
Exactly. I think it can be sort of I mean, coming from the perspective, so as you even said, like you're like there's got to be something different. Like because we give you all the scripts, we give you the script templates, the videos. And so your perspective coming into it was like there's no way these actually work, right? They've got to be doing something else. And then so you were trying to do your own little spin, and then you realize like wait a second. Because it can be, especially, it can be hard to believe for some people that the example videos we give and all the scripts and everything we give, people, especially the numbers we're talking about, like the example video of like 50K day and 30K day and stuff, people, it's hard to believe, some people work a whole year and make like 50K a year. And then there's this like one little video that makes like 50K in a day. It's kind of like, what, surely it's not that easy.
Right, yeah, or you just like try it out, but you don't try it enough times, like you test it like one or two times, like, oh, this doesn't work, and then you try to figure something else, but not out of 10 times, it's just like I think it's just like you're just not testing enough.
Yeah, exactly. And so how many videos do you think you tested, once you got back on track? Let's ignore the part where you were doing everything sort of
Okay.
by yourself. So when you sort of came to the understanding that, all right, I need to use the script templates, I need to use make my videos look exactly like they showed me. How many videos do you think you tested before you hit your breakthrough?
It was quite a lot because again, I wasn't testing, like I don't think I was changing the right things. Like I'd be stuck on a script and I would test like like 30 different hooks when in reality I should be changing like the first 30 seconds. So like I think I did every mistake you could do on the scores. Like, because I tested probably, I don't know, hundreds of videos, before I got to my breakthrough. But I think most of it was my mistake. But when I finally, I think the last like 2 months, probably like in July, is when I like kind of got everything like, okay, I'm just following exactly what they're doing. So I would say like 2 months, probably like around 30 videos, I would say, like when I actually
Yeah.
was from the
That's
point where I was
yeah.
like,
So like in 2 months, like because yeah, it does come down to that. So testing the right, once you realize what you're doing, everything in the beginning you're still learning, right? You're learning,
mhm.
you're going through the process, you're taking action, which is the most important thing. And as you said, you had the belief that you were going to make the money. So a lot of people, when they run into those sort of challenges, they could become like unmotivated and stuff. But at the end of the day, like you're 100% proof of it. As long as you have belief in the system and you actually just keep consistent, you keep testing, it is just a matter of time before you hit your winning video, and then you go from $200 to like 5K in like what, a month or something, a couple of weeks, wasn't it?
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
And like one detail like I left that I haven't like mentioned. So I actually, so like I said, I started the course back in September, and I actually got fired from my job in October. So like this whole time I was just 100% focused. Like it was either this or like nothing. So my whole thing was like profit singularity. It was actually like a week before I hit my breakthrough. I did what I was thought was like the unthinkable, which was like start applying for jobs, because I was at the point where I was like, oh, like my savings are are critical. I got like a month and a half left. I got to figure out. And I told myself, I was like, oh, I'm gonna apply for jobs, but I'm gonna do it just, to keep my wife at ease. But in my mind, I was like, I'm gonna figure this out. And I was like, like I said, I was at least breaking even, or if not making a couple $100s a day at that point. So I was telling my wife, hey, let me just keep testing until I get this job, whatever. But sure enough, like a week after I put my first application in is like when I hit my breakthrough.
And it's crazy, like you said, so you watched a lot of the success stories, like Ilyo doing like a $33,000 day and stuff. And for most people, like these massive numbers are just like crazy. And like really in reality, all you need to do is get to the point where you're making, you said you're making a couple $100 a day, but then you saw how easy it is to scale up to hit like a couple $1,000 a day, which I think is like, that can be absolutely life changing,
Hmm. Yeah, and I don't think there's any other business like that, like where you can do this. As far as I know, I don't think anything else exists like this.
Yeah, well, especially as simple as this as well. And speaking of that, how did you find the whole process? Because you didn't have any online experience before. So how did you find the process? Like, how did you find the course helped support you to achieve your breakthrough?
I mean, I think the course is, excellent. Like the way you guys broke it down was like so simple for like I said, I was a complete newbie, and the way you guys broke it down to like understanding all the metrics you have, like understanding, like kind of like the psychology behind ads. Like you guys pretty much gave us every single tool we needed to be successful. Yeah, I think it's all in the course. It's all in there, and then especially the Q&As you guys do too. That's extremely valuable. I know. Also, just hearing all the mentors, give their advice and stuff is.
Yeah, definitely. And how did you find the process of making all the videos? Because, for some people, they think that they have to be super technical, super creative, and all that sort of stuff. So, how did you find the process of like coming up for script? Because the main sort of things are coming off the script, making the video, and then plugging in the landing page templates, and it's all sort of we give you all those tools to leverage. So, how did you find leveraging the tools to do that sort of creative technical process?
Yeah, I mean, it was super simple, from putting the scripts together to putting the videos and launching, figuring out how to work Google. Like the instructions are there, like step by step. I mean, and like I said, sometimes you just got to rewatch it sometimes to catch everything, but everything's in there. And I actually like enjoyed the whole process, making scripts, creating stuff. It feels good. You make something and you can see the results of it right away. You just test it right away and see whether you did something. I know like Elio mentioned like he used to like to play video game stuff, so I kind of saw it like that too, where you're just like you're
Yeah.
creating something and playing like a little game, I guess.
Exactly. It becomes I was just talking to another student and he was like, it became his hobby, And
Yeah.
most people don't think of like making money as like a hobby. They think of it as like work. But with this, it's like it becomes a hobby, it becomes enjoyable. Like you want to like jump in, make scripts, make videos. And I think that's also a massive part of it as well, because not only is it not hard to make money. Of course, there's challenges with this business model, and it's not, you know, but like the simplicity of it makes it enjoyable. So you actually want to like, oh, look, I'm making, I launch these videos, I test them, and then within like a couple of days, I'm making like money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just,
How old are you, by the way? Because you look fairly young, but you mentioned you have a wife, kids, and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. I get that. I'm actually 33.
Oh no, we got the same. We got the baby face gene.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. Yeah, but yeah, and then talking to older retired people, that have never really even
Mm.
used like a laptop, they just use their phone, and everyone from such a wide range of people are having success. And I think it comes down to what you said, like it's actually enjoyable. And once you understand it, it becomes very simple. Like it's just a sort of repetitive process of testing stuff until you find what works.
It's especially when you get good at it, making the ads and stats, it becomes even more fun.
Yeah. So what advice would you have for any students? So let's just say, I always like to say this, like you're going to tell yourself back before you join the course. So some people might be thinking about joining the course or they've already joined the course. What sort of motivation would you give them and sort of advice would you give them going into it?
Okay. So like what you just mentioned earlier, that there is going to be challenges. There's challenges for, I think, every person I've talked to in this course. I'm sure you're one of the top guys. You still have your challenges. I know talking to Francisco, even at the level he's at, he has challenges. But you can overcome them. Like I said, everything is in the course to give you the tools to overcome those challenges. And it's pretty much up to you how badly you want it. The universe will give you everything you want. You just got to prove that you really truly want it. Stay laser focused, massive action, and I think the most important one is never give up, because there might be times where you really want to give up. And I think that's the only thing that's going to stop you from failure is giving up. Because if you keep going, eventually, I think you'll eventually hit it.
Challenges are just small stepping stones to where you want to be. Every single thing in life is going to have challenges, but the way I framed it when I ever first started trying to make money online, like, all right, I either go get a regular job, and my challenge is like my whole life, right? Waking up with the alarm, typical 9 to 5 stuff, or I can overcome these small sort of challenges, which are going to lead me to like such a bigger breakthrough, such as yourself, right? Going from unemployed, like every other challenge is going to be like sort of minuscule, right? That you just overcame, and you did overcome those to start hitting like thousands of dollars a day. How did you reframe those challenges in your mind when you had things that came up, or you might have had doubts along the way?
Well, again, just rewatching some of the success stories, because that was a common theme that they all had challenges, and some of them had way bigger challenges than I did. Like hearing Dina's story, Francisco from Chile, those were challenges bigger than what I was facing. So I kind of told myself these people were able to do it. I should be able to do it too. If I want it, I have to just overcome those challenges, find a way. If they did it, I think I could do it just too. And
Uh,
that's kind of what kept me going. And like you said, like what was the alternative? Alternative was going back to a 9 to 5 job, and I was like, that's not something I wanted. And then one other thing was like compared to any other business, like the challenges you'll face like in a regular brick and mortar business, or like even other online businesses, like having to deal with customers or like shipping stuff, like those challenges I think are a lot bigger headaches than the ones that we dealt with here.
yeah, exactly. And that's the best way to reframe it, is like every challenge you face, once you overcome it, you're like so much stronger, and you have like a lot more experience and wisdom and stuff, which is just going to benefit you. Now that you're on this path, right? So you got fired from your job to now making, 4 figures a day, $1,000 a day. How has that been? Like, how has that sort of transition been in your life? Going from, I assume you're not waking up to an alarm every morning now.
Right. Yeah. It's insane. It's just like, I don't know, just days full of like gratitude, just seeing like how it all came by, like exactly what I wanted happened, and it was all because of this course, all because of Profit Singularity, just
Yeah.
taking the thing and just, I don't know, gratitude is like the best way I could explain it.
And so what are you doing with your days now? Do you have a lot more freedom, a lot more time to spend with your
Yeah.
wife? You mentioned you had children, yeah? Or
Yeah, definitely. That's a huge part too. Like now my kids, I got 3 kids and they're all in sports, So like every day there's a practice and weekends there's a game. And like now I don't miss any practices. I know back when I was in the office job, sometimes I had to stay work late and I was like, I can't take you this day. But now it's like I'm there all the time, it's awesome. Spending more time with my wife, it's great, and just like you said, not working 9 to 5, just having time to do whatever I want. I can go work out whenever I want, read whenever I want. It's like it's
yeah.
amazing.
So what's the workload been like for you?
Yeah. So since I hit my breakthrough, not too much, maybe like maybe less than an hour a day, 30 minutes. Just checking my stats, making small tweaks in my ads, but maybe an hour tops right now. And before that, it kind of just depended. In the beginning, it was like a few hours, but then you get better at making videos, making scripts, and I was the last few months, probably maybe like 3 or 4 hours a day, just making ads, scripts, and that was like making a couple ads a day. So
Yeah.
it's yeah, definitely. That's another issue you're gonna have to figure out. Is like, what are you gonna do with all this extra time you get?
That's like the best problem ever. Like, you know, going from working like a 9 to 5 to making, XYZ amount of money to then 1 to 3 hours a day making like thousands of dollars a day, and then having so much free time that you have to be like, all right, well, what am I gonna do with this? And I think with that freedom, a whole different lifestyle comes about. Like your lifestyle just improves overall. You, for example, being able to hang out with your wife and your children and go to their practice more, but yeah, you just get to start really focusing on yourself, right? Because you have so much more free time, focusing on your health, your wellness, and just enjoying what you want to do.
Right, definitely.
What do you think's been the most beneficial thing to focus on, and what has helped you the most, like along the way?
So I think the most beneficial is take action every day. You got to be doing something because I know you know when you need it, you take a couple breaks when you need it, maybe 2 or 3 days, but like don't fall off this. This is something you got to be doing every single day. Even if you're not launching an ad, work on scripts or watch another module or be doing something that gets you closer to that goal. Um, one thing that helped me tremendously was joining a mastermind with another student. So if you're able to try to figure out a way to do that, connect with other students, that's something that will tremendously help you and make sure it's someone, like-minded, someone that's, out there for success. And, I think those things were really beneficial for me.
Yeah, and what about your sort of scaling process? Because some people can find it hard to believe that you can go from like a couple $100s a day to like multiple thousands a day. So how was your scaling process? Did you find it difficult, or like once you found the winner, were you just sort of bumping the budget?
So yeah, once I found my winner, I had like the problem, I guess, that all the students want, where it's like you don't have enough money to throw at your ad to scale it higher. So I guess that was my biggest issue. I had to wait till ClickBank would pay me in order to throw more money at it. But yeah, scaling was pretty easy. Just how you guys teach in the course, just using the bump method works very, very easily.
Yeah. So when you did have that first $2,000 day, was it like a week before you hit your $5,000 day, or like what was the time frame on that?
Yeah. So I originally hit my breakthrough, like I said, a month ago, and then after a week of running it, it got hit with the clickbait. So I was trying to get that back, working with Google support. You're trying to figure out a way to get it back. But in the meantime, I was like, I just don't want to be sitting around doing nothing. So I started testing another niche. And then within like a week, I hit my breakthrough or hit another winning ad in that niche. And that's the one I've been scaling up. So yeah, so it was kind of a month gap in between those two ads. So I just got that one back like a week ago. So ever since that day, I've been having 2K or more days.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
insane. So, well, now that you sort of understand how to find a winning ad, do you find the process a lot more easy and like replicatable?
Yeah, 100%. It's like first of all, like once you see your winning ad that's making you $1,000, you're like, okay, you 100%, like you believe, but you're actually like seeing it physically. Like it's like, all right, there's like no limiting beliefs at that point. Right. Yeah. Because at that point, when you hit your first winning ad, you already have, kind of like a shell, like a kind of a template. And then, yeah, you just making small little tweaks, testing out with other offers or other niches. And it's a lot easier getting your second winner than it is to get your first winner. Like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And that's why we give so many of the example, that's why we give so many of the scripts and example videos and all that sort of stuff, because that it's the exact same process for us when we find winners. And I think that's why we've had so many student results, is because like we give you like exactly what you need to do, like the exact process to follow and like implement. And then yeah, I think that's why it's just been so powerful. And then once you sort of understand, it's like, all right, these are like the 3 steps. This is what I need to focus on. These are the small things I need to test. And then boom, once you find the winner, as you said, the biggest problem is not having enough money to spend.
right. Yeah. Yeah. As soon as you master the course, it's like you're gonna get successful. You're gonna be successful. Like it's all in there. It's just up to you, like to master, the course.
Well, where's your next goal? Is it like 5K days consistently, 10K days?
Yeah, so yeah, my next goal is like a 10K day. That's what I'm going for. So yeah, I feel like I'm getting close. As soon as I get the money, it's a matter of just scaling up there. So
Yeah. So
um,
do you think that's your biggest roadblock right now, is just having the cash flow to fund actually hitting a 10K day?
yeah, I think so. I think right now my ads, strong enough where I can throw enough money where I can hit a 10K day and still be profitable. Pretty
Yeah. And
pretty
that's
profitable.
so crazy. That's so like that you're so confident. And I mean, I'm 100% confident in you as well, because I've seen it happen like countless times. Once you have a winner, especially once you're doing 2, 3K days consistently, it really is just about bumping the budget. So once you're in our course, people's sort of perceptions around money kind of change, because it's like you see so many of these like massive numbers. But I mean, bro, like, yeah, what you're doing is like absolutely incredible. And you're in this now reality where you're like so confident, and no matter what, you're going to throw up some ads, start making thousands of dollars a day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and for those, like looking into your interest in this course and like on that journey, that like the mindset, maybe the Red Think and Go Rich, or similar book like that, like this program 100% like helps you with that too. Like the person, like for my mindset, this confidence, like I did not have this like in the beginning of the course, like the persistence, like that was in me when I started this course. Like through this course, it's helped me like become the person I am today too.
Yeah. 10K days are definitely like on the horizon.
Yeah, 100%. And also, thank you, Chris. You've been a huge part of this journey. I follow like all your social media pages, your YouTube. I've watched like a bunch of your interviews done, and just like, your messages, like I don't know, they hit me like at the right time. Like I'd watch it, one of your videos. I like one of my times when I was going through a challenge, and just kept pushing me, and even just replying to me on Instagram. I know you get like hundreds, if not thousands, of messages a day. Just the fact that you take your time and actually reply, just like thank you so much, man.
No worries, man. Well, it's awesome. Like, and it's so humble for me to jump on these calls and speak to you, speak to everyone else as well, because like jumping on a call with you and hearing your story and stuff is like, it's honestly insane. And when we first started the course, it was like, yeah, we thought it was going to work, but like to the level and like the success that people have had and the amount of people that I've been talking to personally, it's like honestly insane.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. It's crazy.
All right, man. Well, yeah, it's been a pleasure talking with you, and looking forward to more of your success, bro. And like, I know it's gonna keep coming, so we'll stay in contact on Instagram. And yeah, man, it's been a pleasure.
Definitely, Chris. 100%. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this
No
interview.
worries, bro. All right, awesome, bro. See ya.